January 25th, 2026, Part 2, Chapter 13.4, Attributes of a Virtuous Friend. Buddha Dhamma, page 1334 to page 1346. Compiled by Somdet Prabhuta Gosa Acharya, P.A. Payuto. Part 2. Although the Buddha, Gautama, repeatedly warned against associating with bad immortal people, note that in the passages above he presented an exception when he associated with such a person out of kindness and compassion, and with a desire to help. In any case, those who wish to help such a person should first consider their own readiness beforehand. Some of the teachings of the attributes of a Kalala Mitra, a virtuous friend, emphasizes everyday, immediate benefits, sometimes also connected to higher spiritual benefits. The teaching on true and false friends in the Singha Lakha Sutra. Here, householder's son, there are 4 types who can be seen as foes, enemies, as false friends. The swindler is one, the great talker is one, the flatterer is one, and the troublemaker is one. The man who is a swindler can be seen to be a false friend for 4 reasons. He takes everything for himself. He wants a lot for a little. He helps his friends only when he is in danger, and he seeks his own end. Secondly, the great talker can be seen as a false friend for 4 reasons. He talks of things that have passed away. He talks of things that have not yet come to be. He offers assistance with useless things. And when his friends are in need, he makes up excuses owing to some obstacle. The third, the flatterer, can be seen to be a false friend for 4 reasons. He assents to bad actions. He equally assents to good action. He praises you to your face, and he disparages you behind your back. Fourth, the troublemaker can be seen to be a false friend for 4 reasons. He is a companion when he indulges in alcohol, when you roam the streets at unfitting times, when you frequent places of rivalry and entertainment, when you indulge in gambling. Here, the householder's son. There are 4 types who can be seen to be a true friend, good-hearted friends. A supportive friend is one. The friend is happy in unhappy times is one. The friend who points out what is good is one. And the friend who considerate is one. First, the supportive friend can be seen to be a true friend in 4 ways. He looks after you when you are heedless. He looks after your possessions when you are heedless. He is the refuge when you are in danger. And when some business is to be done, he lets you have more than you ask for. Second, the friend in happy and unhappy times can be seen to be a true friend in 4 ways. He tells you his secrets. He guards your secrets. He does not let you down in times of misfortune. He would even sacrifice his life for you. Third, the friend who points out what is good can be seen to be a true friend in 4 ways. He keeps you from wrongdoing. He supports you in doing good. He informs you of things you did not previously know. He points out the path to heaven. And fourth, the considerate friend can be seen to be a true friend in 4 ways. He does not rejoice at your misfortune. He rejoices at your good fortune. He stops others who speaks against you, and he commends others who speak in praise of you. A similar passage is found in the Anguttara Nikaya. Bhikkhu, a friend who possesses 7 factors should be followed. What 7? He gives what is difficult to give. He does what is difficult to do. He patiently endures what is difficult to endure. He reveals his own secrets. He keeps his friends' secrets. He does not abandon one in misfortune. He does not despise his friends when they are destitute. The general principles of friendships are outlined in the teachings on the 6 directions. Here, the householder's son, there are 5 ways in which a man should minister to his friends and companions as the northern direction. 1. By gifts and generosity. 2. By kindly loving words. 3. By assistance and support. 4. By offering consistent friendship, by being a friend in good times and bad. And 5th, by speaking honestly and sincerely. In Pali, dana, pitya vacha, atta acharya, samananta attata, avisamva taranta, avisamvatananta. There are 4 of these factors comprised that the teaching refers to as the 4 bases for social solidarity, Sanghavatu. This teaching presents a principle of mutual assistance and the uniting people in harmony. These factors are ways of expressing goodwill between people. These 2 teachings on the 6 directions on the basis of solidarity are virtually identical. They show how Buddhism encourages people to befriend one another and to respond to others as friends. As the 4 factors, the offering of consistent friendships, the ability to adapt to others and to be conceited and to be a good friend in times and bad is essential and goes to the heart of friendship, as described earlier. Gautama Buddha, distinguishes the friend in happy and unhappy times as one of the 4 true friendships. The bhikkhus, or a renunciant in general, should act as virtuous friends for the lay people. The responsibility for a bhikkhu in relation to a householder, according to honoring the zint in the teaching on the 6 directions, are identical to the attributes of a true friend. The attributes of a true friend, one who points out what is good, can be paraphrased in this context. Bhikkhus are true friends as they point out what is good. The duties of the monastic sangha towards the laity, however, contain an additional 2 factors among the 6 factors in total. To discourage them from doing evil, to encourage them to do good, to assist them with benevolence, to inform them of things they have not previously known or heard, to explain and clarify those things they have heard, to point out the way to heaven, to teach the way of life leading to happiness. The responsibilities of the monastic sangha in relation to the laity are set down as follows. Bhikkhu, monks, Brahmins, and householders are very helpful to you, as they support you with the 4 requisites, the requisites of robes, the requisites of alms food, the requisites of lodging, and the requisites of medicine for your sickness. And you too should be very helpful to the Brahmins and householder by teaching them the Dhamma beautifully in the beginning, beautifully in the middle, and beautifully in the end, by expounding the holy life both in spirit and in the latter, utterly complete and pure. In this way, bhikkhus, monks, in mutual dependence of the lay people and those gone forth, live the holy life for the purpose of escaping the flood, for making a complete end to dukkha. In the mutual dependence of householders and the homeless, both practice to achieve the true Dhamma, the unsurpassed security from bondage. The following passages affirm Gautama Buddha's emphasis on assisting the laity by using righteous means. Yes, headman Tathagata in many ways praises support for the families and the protections of families, compassion for families. Having said this, while performing the duties of virtuous friend in the compassionate and honest manner for the laity, the monatistic Sangha must be careful to preserve the unique attributes of an independent lifestyle and the life of a renunciant. It is important to avoid fraternizing too much with the lay people, which can cause harm for both parties. It can hinder individual spiritual progress and deprive the lay people from refuge. If the monk are overly engaged in the world, the laity will only have people who are muddied and hurried as they are to rely on. They have not an anchor to help release them from confusion and turmoil. This inappropriate relationship in which the monks became as caught up in the world affairs as the laity, and in which they are unreliable to help lead the lay people to inner freedom, is referred to as getting ensnared by others human beings. What bhikkhus, monks, is getting ensnared by human beings? Here a bhikkhu lives overly associating with lay people. He rejoices with them and grieves with them. He is happy when they are happy and sad when they are sad. And he involves himself in their affairs and his duty. He acts as a busybody. This is called getting caught up by human beings. When engaging in the direct instruction of others, a virtuous friend should follow the teaching, emphasize purity, kindness, and sincerity. First, there is a group of 5 factors known as the quality of a teacher. Dhamma de Sakha Dhamma. The first quality of a teacher, to teach gradually and sequentially. Anupupikatha, to teach a subject matter in stages, beginning with easy aspects and ending with more profound aspects. To teach in a progressive, integrated, and reasoned way. Second, to explain causality, pariya de savi, to clarify each aspect and point to specific subject matter. To be versatile in one's teaching, pointing out causal relationship. Third, to teach with kindness and well-wishing, anutayata, to teach with a heart of love and kindness, aiming for the welfare of one's students. And fourth, to refrain from seeking material rewards, anami santara, to teach others without aiming for material gain, financial rewards, or personal advantages. And fifth, to not hurt oneself or others, anupahacha, to make the mind impartial, to teach according to the gifts and formal principles of specific subject matter, to focus on the theoretical and practical meaning of a matter, to not exalt oneself while showing contempt for others. The following passages describes both pure and impure teachings. Bhikkhu. A bhikkhu teaches the Dhamma to others with the thought, oh, may they listen to the Dhamma from me. Having listened, may they gain faith in me. Having gained faith may they show their devotion to me. Such a bhikkhu, a monk, teaches the Dhamma is impure. Monks. Bhikkhu. A bhikkhu teaches the Dhamma to others with the thought, the Dhamma that is well expounded by the Tathagata, the Blessed One, is to be realized directly by oneself. It's timeless, inviting one to come and see. It should be brought within and realized, to be experienced individually by the wise. Oh, that they may listen to the Dharma from me. Having listened, may they clearly understand the Dhamma. Having clearly understood, may they practice accordingly. Thus, he teaches the Dhamma to others because of the intrinsic excellence of the Dhamma. He teaches the Dhamma to others out of compassion and sympathy, out of the tender concern such a bhikkhu teaching of the Dhamma is pure. In a similar way, the teaching on the 6 directions in reference to the duties of a teacher towards their students contains similar attributes. Here, the emphasis is not so much on purity, but rather on kindness and sincere commitment. One, to counsel and train students in virtue. Two, to provide students with a clear understanding of relevant subjects. 3, to provide students with a complete education in various branches of arts and sciences. 4, to recommend and praise the students' virtues and abilities to friends and colleagues. And 5th, to provide students with security in all directions, to instruct them on how to truly apply their knowledge and make a living. Finally, there are 2 qualities of a virtuous friend which should be given special emphasis and which distinguish the excellence of such persons. First, one is truly able to do which one teaches, or one has arrived at a specific realization about which one is able to teach others. Second, one is free, one is not stuck in confusion or tied up with the same attachment as those people one's guides. In reference to the first quality, there are many teachings by Gautama Buddha. The first example is from the Dhammapada, verse 158 to 159. Let one first establish oneself in what is proper and good, then instruct others. A learned person should be taintless. You should act as you teach. Generally, those teachings on distinction from conduct or ethics, but if a person has attained a specific realization by way of the mind or by way of panya, then as a virtuous friend, this is the best. It is not possible to find such a person. One should seek someone who has progressed further on the spiritual path, or at least equal in this respect. Occasionally, a very learned person who possesses knowledge through reading text or other forms of study can facilitate Dhamma realization in someone else's, despite he himself having not yet attained such a realization. Similarly, it can happen that 2 people at equal stages of spiritual maturity discuss and review the Dhamma together. As a consequence, they simultaneously arrive at the realization of the truth. One of the great benefits of having a virtuous friend is that he or she acts as a role model. As a result, one is confident that those things one practices and aspires to are truly feasible and achievable. And by accomplishing these things, one really receives true and worthy results. Moreover, a virtuous friend has greater knowledge, greater understanding, and greater experience, and is thus able to recommend methods which facilitate or speed up one's practice. A virtuous friend who has achieved the fruits of spiritual practice can provide these benefits or blessing fully, generating profound faith and motivation in others. It is therefore natural to wish for virtuous friends with a complete set of these attributes. The second quality of freedom contains 2 aspects: a person's lifestyle and a person's inner spiritual freedom. This quality of freedom is vital and is connected to the description above on how monks who fraternize with the lay people. If someone is shackled by the same bonds and fetters as others, or is caught up in the same whirlpools and turbulent waters, he will not be able to help himself, let alone help release or liberate others. Someone who is subject to social constrictions and struggles to obtain things in a worldly way and wish worldly values, is under pressure to make a living and support his family. He needs to fight for his own survival and that of his family in the same way as other people. Whenever there are trouble in society, it will be difficult for him to find time to devote himself to save others or to lead them in a new direction. His attempts to help tend to fall into a category of paddling around in a small pond, not moving anywhere. When this person lacks freedom both in lifestyle and inwardly, as it seemed more difficult to achieve success in helping others. It is for this reason that Gautama Buddha, established the monasticistic Sangha as the independent community, which was way of life free from the constraints of the wider society and a guiding into disciplinary code of the Vinaya. When this independent way of life is combined with individuals, those minds are liberated. The Sangha becomes a powerful force in generating virtuous qualities in the wider society and acts as a refuge for the public, enabling other people to also discover virtuous levels of freedom. On the subject of assisting others, Gautama Buddha gave the following teaching. Kuta, that one who himself sinking in deep mud should pull out another who is sinking in deep mud is impossible. That one who is not himself sinking in the mud should pull out another who is not sinking in the mud is possible. That one who himself untrained, undisciplined, and defilements extinguished should train another, discipline himself, and help extinguish his defilements is impossible. That one who is himself trained, disciplined, with defilements extinguished should train another, discipline him, and help extinguish his defilement is possible. Gautama Buddha aimed to ensure that the stable and long-lasting independence of the monastic Sangha. In this context, the following teachings can be determined as a code of ethics for renunciants. A renunciant should not overly be busy, acting indiscriminately. He should not be the man of someone else. Not independent of another should he live, nor go treating the Dhamma as a commodity. This matter can be summed up by looking at the peerless attributes of the Buddha himself, Gautama, who was supreme virtuous friend. Gautama Buddha was endowed with both qualities. He was truly accomplished and realized those things he taught. He was free, liberated from both social constraints and from the oppressions of mental defilements. Bhikkhu, just as blue, just as red, white lotus is born in the water and grows up in water, but having risen up above the water, it stands unsullied by the water. So too, the Tathagata was born in the world, grew up in the world, but having risen above the world, he dwells untarnished by the world. See here, Bahuna, the Tathagata is free, detached, released from 10 things, and thus dwell with a boundless mind. What 10? Here, the Tathagata is free, detached, released from physical form, released from feeling, released from perception, released from volitional formation, released from consciousness, released from birth, released from old age, released from death, released from all dukkha, released from all mental impurity, and thus dwell in this boundless mind. In the same way, a blue, red, or white lotus born in water grows up in the water, but having risen up above the water, it stands unsullied by the water. The Blessed One is awakened himself and thus teaches the Dhamma for the sake of awakening. The Blessed One has trained himself and thus teaches the Dhamma for the sake of training. The Blessed One is at peace himself and thus teaches the Dhamma for the sake of peace. The Blessed One has crossed over himself and thus teaches the Dhamma for crossing over. The Blessed One is completely quenched himself and thus teaches the Dhamma for extinguishment. The following three characteristics of Gautama Buddha's teaching style, which we refer to as the Buddhist mode of teaching, can be used as general principles of self-assessment for those who act as virtuous friends and instruct others. The Buddha, Gautama, teaches the Dhamma through direct knowledge. He teaches those things worthy of realization that he himself has realized in order that others too may realize these things. These principles focuses on the teacher, on the fact that he or she truly understands or has realized the subject being taught. Second, the Buddha Gautama teaches the Dhamma with a second basis. He teaches and explains in coherent ways so that the person listening is able to contemplate the subject and understand it by applying their own wisdom. This principle focuses on the pupils or the listeners. The teacher instructs in a way that provides the listeners with the freedom of the opportunity to reflect, apply discernment, develop wisdom, penetrate the truth by themselves. The teacher merely presents facts, information, reasoned arguments, or suggestions in order to bring aspects of truth to light and to stimulate and contemplate in the listener. The Buddha Gautama teaches the Dhamma with real, wondrous results. He teaches those things which are true, which are acknowledged by those wise persons, lovers of truth, who contemplate them. He teaches those things that are reliable. Practitioners will attain these fruits corresponding and appropriate their application into practice. This principle focuses on the teaching, which is in accord with truth, or truly so. It is verifiable, effective, worthy. It is not trivial, futile, or follow in vain. It produces real results for people who practice it. The fruits of practice match the effort made by the practitioner and by accompanying conditional factors. If one is unable to find virtuous friends who is realized and truly free, it can still be useful to follow and learn from someone who possesses great learning, despite the fact that he or she has not yet reached the gist of the teaching. In this case, such a person is like a cowherd who looks after cows belonging to someone else, or like a blind person who carries a lantern. A person with good vision is thus able to see. A person with good vision here refers to someone endowed with yoniso manasikara, wise reflection. This is not only the case with someone who has vast knowledge and is highly skilled teacher. Even the speech of a simpleton or someone who parrots the wise words of others can provide food for thought. A person with wise reflection, yoniso manasikara, may hear these words and consequently attain realization. In these circumstances, however, the vital factor rests with the listener. That is, he or she possesses the internal spiritual factor of wise reflection, which shall be discussed in the following chapter. That's the end of chapter 13.4.